Trey Gowdy joins us now. Trey, before we talk about your debate analysis, I thought I would get your reflections on this day of remembrance on September 11th.
Yeah, Dana, it changed everything from the way we travel, sporting events. This veneer facade of invincibility that we have as a country was shattered. The only silver lining in the aftermath of 9/11 was national unity, which has long since dissipated. So we're left with all the negative consequences of 9/11, and the unity that we once enjoyed is gone.
And there is also the question about, September 10th thinking, which is not having enough imagination for what very patient terrorists would want to do to us and other Western civilization. All right, on that, let's get your overall thoughts about the debate. We just saw that Harris and Trump again shook hands today, and I think it's quite a moment, I think, for America to show again and again that, yes, we can have political disagreements, but on important days and important moments, the two people who want to be commander-in-chief after this term of Biden's ends can have a nice moment there at the 9/11 memorial.
That is what makes us different. It's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, members of Congress will also come together today, but it's today only, and then they'll go back to fighting. And my fear is that those fleeting moments of unity don't even last. I mean, they don't even last a 24-hour news cycle. In terms of last night, I know the president listed several people that he had fired during his administration. He may want to add to that the people that prepped him for the debate last night. It was the land of missed opportunities. And yes, I get that the ABC moderators fact-checked him and not her. I got a news flash for all Republicans. He's not the first Republican candidate to run into a media headwind. In fact, every single Republican presidential candidate has run into a media headwind. It's their question, but it's your answer. And if you're talking about dogs and cats, right now, Dana, you hear the power of calling the names of victims. It is incredibly powerful to call the name, to personalize the victim. Did you hear President Trump call the name of a single person raped, robbed, killed, assaulted by a border crosser last night? I did not. I heard about cats and dogs in Ohio, but I didn't hear the name of a single person that was killed as a result of Kamala Harris. How about the Afghan kids that were droned? Do you hear them brought up? I mean, any names. It was a land of missed opportunities to me last night.
Would you do another one, Trey?
He better, and he better get a brand new debate prep team, because the goal is to get under his skin. So talk about crowd size rallies, talk about your wealth. I mean, anybody who's spent like a week in law school knows how to cross-examine someone. The key is to not take the bait. I mean, when you get a question about the border or abortion and you're talking about student loans, she voted against banning partial birth abortion. That is an extreme position. She says she's in favor of Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade does not allow partial birth abortions. So, look, the moderators didn't fact check her, but there's no reason he can't do it. Yeah. But to do it, you have to know the facts, and you have to be prepared. And what I saw last night was an initially prepared candidate with a good closing argument, but by that time, the jury's already made up its mind. And I just think it was a land of missed opportunities. Whoever prepped him for that debate should be part of the second debate.
When she was AG in California, she sued Barack Obama when he was president to prevent fracking off the coast of California. That was 2016. That was a layup. Trey, thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, thanks.
We'll talk again a bit later in the week.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.